Hi, guys, and welcome back to the Hot Seat. I am your host, Priscilla Moy. We are live here in real time at social media shows here in the studio. We had an amazing interview with Tony, and we had his great bass player, Bram, here today performing for you. So I really hope that you guys really look into his guitar day, his guitar night, his performance, and really get a ticket to that and go support them. He's a great musician and has a lot to contribute to Las Vegas. So we are going to jump right into our next guest. Now we're going to enter the world of politics again. As you guys have seen, we've only done this one other time with another Assemblyman. So we're going to have someone running for U.S. Congress here today at the hot seat. I am a little nervous for this. You guys bear with me. I'm kind of starstruck a little bit. So everyone, please welcome Ron Quince.
Hi.
Hi.
How
Thank
are
you
you?
so
Thanks for having me.
much for taking time out of your day and coming in the studio to be here with us. How are you feeling today? It's a
Good,
great
good,
day.
good. You know,
You look
busy
great. You
campaigning.
look great. Yes.
Actually, I'm a little bit underdressed, you know.
No,
and it's
you're
kinda
not.
slow.
We're matching though. You know, the orange tie, so I picked a perfect outfit today. Look at that. It's meant to be.
Well,
You know.
I'm just trying to follow the protocol in the email.
No green
I
or
was
yellow.
I was gonna wear green or yellow.
Should have.
This is
Just have a
spring.
floating head, Ron. Go for Quince. So, first and foremost, now you are from the Philippines. You have
Correct.
been
I was
in
born in the
Vegas.
Philippines. Yeah, I came here when I was young. I grew up in Los Angeles and get educated in Arizona. And I had an opportunity 20 years ago to move here in Vegas. And I started my business here. Started a family here. And a few years ago, I'd probably say 4 years ago, I started getting into philanthropy.
Mhm.
And went back to the Philippines, donated some toys there, especially when they have like a typhoon season. And I go to Mexico and donate toys to the kids there. And of course, here during Thanksgiving, I usually give out turkeys, even though sometimes I forgot I didn't have any turkeys. And also, of course, like toys. So when I was doing the philanthropy things, I realized that I can do this on a bigger level.
Mhm.
That's why I decided to run for office because I believe that this country it's about time that for us to have better leaders because the leaders that we have right now, it's been there forever
Mhm.
and they're losing touch with the community. At least someone like myself that's actually still involved in the community knows how the way, my constituents concern and problems because right now there's just so much problems and pretty sure, some people don't even want to hear the news anymore because it's just like so much problems.
Yeah. So you actually were an accountant, right? You did
I'm,
have.
I'm an accountant by
Yes,
profession.
profession.
I have a business consultant company, and what we do is we help small businesses on how to start their business. Also help them with strategies on how to make their business better. So, any business you can think of, I probably have consulted that, and involved in real estate as well, investments and things like that. So it's pretty much like well-rounded
Yeah.
as far as the business aspect, of it.
Of course, and that's very important, especially in Nevada. You know, small businesses, and then also doing all these real estate is also a huge.
Oh, yeah,
thing as well.
absolutely.
So it's good to have that knowledge in the back while you're running for a district that's within Nevada, and then you're also getting your master's as well.
Correct.
You
Yeah, I'm
did
getting my
have a
master's.
quote,
Yes.
Yeah, where you were studying that just to become more prepared if you do get the seat in Congress.
Well, like right now, that's for some reason for the last few years, our country has been emergency and crisis, and I believe that I can be a better congressman if I understood the way the crisis and emergency management work. Going back to school, which is like, oh my God, last time I went back to school, when I was at school, it's like probably 20 years ago, and now getting back in school, I actually go to UNLV, seeing the new different types of situation that like none of us can think of it because like people are so busy they usually just want to get into their daily lives, but in this situation you're thinking about people first, like what would happen if something happened. And I was just there, I don't know, remember the shooting? We had a horse that time, and then the week after, and we were just talking about how the way we're gonna save people and help people, safety prevented measurements if there's like a gun shooting. And
Right.
what happens like the next week?
Right.
There's
Right.
a shooting happens. So it's something about like that. I'm not very familiar with that, so I decided to go back to school and more like study about it, be more conscious about it, because eventually, once I became your congressman, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing those decisions.
Right. Do you think that there's a lot of people in office right now that might not have taken those educational steps to really know firsthand about specific things that are a huge crisis right now in America?
Absolutely. That's why we have some, I would probably say, politician that they don't know what to do because they never been exposed to that. They just get elected. Usually, that's why I'm running as a nonpartisan, because I was a part of the Republican Party before, and the problem about the two parties now is the Republican Party, they focus on the policies but they don't focus on people, and then Democratic Party, they focus on people but not in policy. So when I was like looking where really I stand, I'm not really a right-wing Republican, and I'm not a left-wing Democrat. I'm right in the middle, which is like right now, this is what the people need. I think both parties are not working anymore. I think we're already behind as far as a country. You cannot just have Republican and Democrat. Every voice matter in Nevada. People want to hear something different that can willing to go across the aisle, because if you're a Republican and you became a congressman, of course you have to listen to the people that's actually above you. And if you're a Democrat, you have to listen to the people, part of that, the leader of that party. So now you cannot really voice your experience because you have to please your bosses technically. But in this situation, as a nonpartisan, my boss is the people of Congressional District 1. Yeah, because their voice matter.
Yeah. So you're really pushing the idea that, you work for the people, the government should be working for the people.
Absolutely.
Versus, hiding behind either the ego or your own view and trying to force people to believe those things. Right. So I know a lot of things that you are talking about with your campaign is that you're really focused on education reform, immigration reform, taxes, excessive spending, and things like that. So please elaborate how and why those things are so important to you as a resident of Nevada, and how you want to use that to change.
Is this going to be a 2-hour show?
Sure, Maria's
Sure,
in
look at
charge.
that.
She
Sure, look
loves
at that.
it. Maria loves the politics.
Let's talk about education. Of
Yeah.
course, the state of Nevada is actually, we're like sometimes number 47
Yeah.
in a good day. Bad day, we're like
Terrible.
number 51, including Puerto Rico. The mid-level income here in Nevada, they can't afford to send their kids in private school. If they're gonna go to charter school, there's a waiting list. And a lot of the concern of my constituents is like, Ron, you know what? We work, we're middle class, a community, and the thing is, we can't afford to send our kids to a private school that they charge $1,500 a month, which is more expensive than my tuition at UNLV. Okay, some people, but the problem is like if we send them to the public school, the concern they have is their kids are not learning. And the way to fix that is, first, we have to look at the other states actually doing well, such as Michigan, New Hampshire. They're doing really well in their educational program. And what I believe is we need to give the teachers proper tools on how to do their job, and we need to start recruiting better teachers in a different state, because others, like here, a regular typical teacher here in Clark County, to start off, they make $40,000 a year. So to them, why would I teach when I can just work in the service industry and make 3 times as that? All right. So now we're getting a lot of teachers that are actually not practicing because they get paid more if they're doing different profession. So now my suggestion, of course, once I get elected, is put more money in the educational program. I believe that the federal government has a 40% budget that they can give to each state. Right now, I think we're just utilizing at least 18% of that. So we need to get that additional funding to help the student here, and of course the teachers here in Nevada.
Do you think, I know I asked this question before with somebody else who's big on education, because I have noticed, so I am from Chicago, I'm in the Midwest, and so when I moved here, I do notice why and how, in my own point of view, education is so low. Like, it makes sense. We can look at the numbers, but when you experience it and you talk to people, you kind of see, and you have young kids, so they will probably be going to the schools here. Do you believe it's just funding as the reason why we're so low and how we're teaching, or do you also think it's a social aspect in regards to
I remember when I moved here from Arizona, back then, the average bachelor's degree population I would say 3%. And then the person with master's probably like 2%, because this is a service industry. Kind of like, I remember I used to have a classmate, we both went to accounting school, but when he came here to Vegas, he decided to park cars because he goes like, Ron, the accounting, the accounting corporation is going to pay us 70,000. This one I make $120,000 a year. But the question now is, before that's the way it was, but since Vegas is growing, now there's more demand in education, because now, of course, we need doctors, we need lawyers, we need accountants, this city is growing. When I came here, I think there's like 250. Now there's like, what, 3 million? And as you can see, the traffic every day wasn't like that before.
Oh, yeah.
So we're getting to that point now, and now the education more became in demand. This is a perfect place, a perfect state for Silicon Valley to come here, because you don't need any water, you don't need anything else. But the thing is, we don't have enough people that are actually educated, so that's why they can work to those fields. Now they have to bring people from a different state. So that's why they can work. But of course, some people don't like the weather. They like the California, things like that. So that's one of the things that we need to do as a state, and of course that we want to make sure that if we're gonna invite Silicon Valley to come here, everything is computer now, that we have the right people to come here. Just like when they have Tesla in Reno, they have to get engineers from a different state, sometimes in different countries, because this state is not ready to have that.
Right. Yeah.
But now, if we have that, then now probably that we can invite them a lot more, because this is still, at the end of the day, this is still a good state to be at. We don't have income taxes in this state.
Right.
So it's they're gonna save a lot of money, and the housing here is pretty good. It's a little bit increasing now, but it was, it's comparison to California, it's still.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure Chicago as well. Still a nice place to live.
Of course.
Of course, a lot of families are moving in. So now we need candidates and representative that actually can go with the change of life. It's not the old Las Vegas anymore. We don't see Frank Sinatra singing. It's different now.
It's different.
We have people now that actually come in here because they wanna better their family. They're more qualified. But sometimes, how many people does the casino need to have a vice president of tourist industry? So now we need to encourage a lot of big companies, banks, anything that doesn't require farming to come here. And this state is it's a great state. I've been here for 20 years and I love it here.
And you made a great point, because I think a lot of locals don't like the idea of outsourcing for whatever it may be. My industry, entertainment, that's a big thing. Why are we outsourcing actors? Why are we outsourcing production companies? Well, we have talent here. But I feel like in regards to, especially, I think this goes back down to education, no matter where you're from. If you don't have that quality that you're looking for in order to run these big companies, Nevada can't possibly do that and build up their hierarchy within those companies, whether it be engineering, whether it be business, whether it be corporations that maybe isn't a casino, right? Or things that people are used to here, right?
Absolutely. It was so funny because I'm pretty sure before you move here, you came to Vegas all the time. And back then, when I was on my 20s, I would come to Vegas and I would be like, wait a minute, there's houses here?
Yeah. Really?
Because, I was just thinking it was a strip.
Right,
and then when I actually moved here, oh my God, they actually have playgrounds, they have this, they have that, they have school. Because, of course, back then, the way they built Vegas is just an entertainment town. But now, of course, a lot of people are coming in, a lot of corporations are coming in, and we have to go change with the time. And, of course, now, that's the educational aspect of it. The second one that's really dear important in my life is actually the service industry tax.
Okay.
I was talking to a lady today, and she's been in the service industry for a while. I would probably say 25 years. She's a waitress, and she was telling me that in 2020, before their taxes, they were just base rate on 690. But in 2022, their base rate now is 1620, which is doubled and she was telling me that, Ron, I'm paying for taxes that I didn't even make. Because what happened was the new IRS guidelines, they put all the money together, all the tips. So let's say you're getting 50 and I'm only getting 10. But since this is on a pool, we have to split it. So it's not fair for me because I'm supposed to pay only on the $10.
Yeah.
It's great for you because now you only have to pay for the
Right,
$25. So those are one of the things that the biggest problem right now, because what happened is they have to report their tips a lot higher. They go up to a tax bracket, and then now they pay more taxes. And people don't want to pay taxes. They have no problem paying taxes because we have to pay taxes to, pay the roads, and all these things that's going on in Vegas. However, if I'm only making $25, why would I pay 50 that I'm making $50? It's just not fair. So those are the things that their concerns about it, and unfortunately, the sitting representative right now voted for those races. So looking at it, wait a minute, I think this person's not thinking about their constituents, because if you're thinking about your constituents, especially in Las Vegas, we're a tip capital of the world. We need to help the people that live here, because if we save them taxes, then what's going to happen? They're going to use that money and put it back to the economy. And now we're going to have surplus again, just like what it used to. That's why Vegas back then, I remember when I moved here 20 years ago, there's so much surplus. We just have so much money. Now we're barely making it because of that. And now they said, Ron, they would tell me, Ron, Vegas, Nevada is not a free income tax state. And I said, well, if you think about it, it's not. It's a fee state, because everything that we do, there's a fees. And I'm like, well, those are the things that we need to work on. Like, we need to make sure that identify all the expenses, stop spending, only spend that we can spend. Because if I'm running my business the way the government's running the business now, I would have been bankrupt. We need to hold accountabilities for people. And I've worked for corporate America before. If nobody's watching, nobody's going to do their job. We need to watch them. Unfortunately, in this situation, our boss is the American people, and we need to make sure that their dollar is getting spent wisely and getting and spending it inside here in the United States.
So what do you think is the underlying problem as to why taxing the American people is being so corrupt? Do you think it goes down to the country's spending and how much debt we have, and they're just having us pay for those?
Absolutely, and that's what's happening right now. What happens, like, we just have the inflation so high because right now we're just spending so much money. And like, as you can see, like, gas prices are high. They encourage us to have electric cars, which I have no problem with that. I want us to be eventually, I have young children. Eventually, I want my kids to have a green earth environment, but we are not in that level yet. It's gonna take some time. One time I have a Tesla, and people are like, start giving me a hard time. They're like, oh, Tesla. But I was telling them, well, yeah, I have a Tesla, but I also have a few cars, actually, gas, because, I can't afford to buy all electric cars, right? So, but at least maybe I can help the environment, one Tesla at a time, and, but some people need to understand how the way things work now, that it's just not for them, it's for everybody. If you want to drive, I don't know, V8, you can afford it, more power to you. If you want to drive a Tesla because you want to have a green earth environment, drive it. This is a free country. You can do whatever you want. And that's the time that I realized that my voters in my district are free thinkers. They don't want to be like stuck. They don't want the government to run their lives. Like, kind of like, hey, gas is cheap. Go buy some cars. Well, yeah, but I want to have a Tesla. Okay, then you know what? We're gonna make the Tesla higher so you can afford it, so you can buy a regular car. Oh, the gas is high. We want you to drive a Tesla. Well, I can't afford to buy a Tesla.
Right.
Well, you're just gonna have to buy it because are you gonna pay $5 a gallon in gas? People that we have in America, especially with the young generation now, the millennials, the Gen Z, they're free thinkers, and the way this country is going, we need people that actually have new ideas. We need new generations. We need young leaders now that coming in. Because the problem is, if we're gonna rely on the old politician or the old way of doing business before, this is not going to be America that I grew up with.
Right.
And I have kids here, and I want my kids to grow up in the America that I grew up with, like in the 80s, like back in the good old days. Because this is the only country they know. They can't go to Mexico because they're half Latinos. They cannot go to the Philippines because they don't know that life.
Yeah.
Their life is USA.
Yeah.
This is all they know. And that's what I decided to run for office, because I'm not only doing it for my family, I'm doing it for everybody. And I'm also doing it for our Asian community, because there's a lot of us now here.
Right.
It's like, 360,000 now here. And of course, the Pacific Islander as well, there's like, 0.9% of them. So it's about time that they can, we need some representation. I think it's about time. We've been here for a
my
while.
next question.
Right?
Was
We've
that
been here for a while.
Right.
And I believe that it's time for us to have a Asian representative in this
Yeah.
country, because
There isn't
especially in
one.
the state,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
there's none.
Especially in Nevada, no. But let's talk about, being Asian, especially because you're not American born.
Mhm.
So I'm sure that there's a lot of people that would view that, okay, we have an immigrant here who's trying to run, especially for Republican Party as well, because a lot of people don't associate certain minorities for whatever reason with certain parties. And I know that you had to deal with a lot of adversity, and even back in corporate, I think you had mentioned where you had to deal with some sort of racial kind of situation where you were not able to have a higher position based on being Asian.
Yeah, I think at that
Correct?
time, well, they said I was too young at that time.
So I feel like, but was it?
You're that sorry for it.
Yeah.
I think you're too young. Okay, no,
Right.
we're not
Yeah.
gonna give you the
Okay,
publicity.
anyway.
You're too young.
Right. So how do you feel that as an Asian, do you feel like there's a lot of weight on your shoulders? Do you feel that there's more work that you have to do to be a spokesperson for a big community, and no one really feels like, sometimes we Asians may not feel anyone's on our side, or we stand alone. I feel like a lot of Asians feel that way in America. So how does that impact how?
Well,
Right.
the beauty about being in America, it doesn't matter if even though we all have different first name, Latino American, Asian American, sometimes Filipino American, Chinese American, Hispanic Americans, we all have the same last name, which is American. And that's the only thing that I always look at, because the Constitution of the United States made it that way with our forefathers, or some people, they said their forefathers, because we're visitors here, right? Well, it's my forefathers now, because I represent this country. I love this country so much. With that Constitution of the United States gave us that opportunity that even though we're all different, even though we have different first name, we still have the same last name, and that's American. So when people ask me, hey, are you eligible to run for office because you weren't born here? And I tell them, well, you know what? I'm actually an American citizen. I actually more American than Filipino because I grew up here. I do love Filipino food, but
Right.
but I grew up here. So if I go to the Philippines, I don't really relate there because I didn't grow up there, and sometimes I'm even more American than they are because, being Asian American, it's hard for us in school because we really have to work hard. I remember when I was growing up, if you get a B, don't come home. That's my parents told me. So you gotta get all A's.
Yeah.
And if you ask them about the history of the United States, we know more than they do, even though, they were born here. The only difference is all of us came, this country's built with immigrants, unless you're a Native American. They just came earlier. And we came later, right?
Yeah.
What about if it's vice versa? We came earlier, and they came later. So they have the same situation. So I was telling them, America is a land of opportunity. It's a land of immigrant. Some of us came here in plane. Some of us came here in boat. Some of us cross, right? Some of them came here as a worker. Some of us came here as looking for an opportunity. And back then, some people came here in shuttles. But we all in America, and the beauty about this country is everything's possible. A lot of people saying, hey, you're Asian American, you're not gonna go anywhere. Hey, I've seen a lot of Asian that's very successful here. Connie Chung, back in the days, she's the first Asian anchor that I ever seen. That didn't exist, but now look at it. We have a lot of Asians now that are actually doing it. Filipinos, we became diversified now, and I really think those people that came as the innovators, because without them, we wouldn't have this opportunity, and that's why I'm running for office, because I want the people know, like, I would probably say a young Asian kid that says, oh my God, or a young Filipino kid goes like, hey, that guy's going to be a congressman. I want to be a congressman someday. Rather than someone telling him, oh, you know what, go to school, study, because you're going to be a good worker someday. What about a good business owner? Because, they never teach us that,
Right.
This opportunity now is giving us a lot of future for a young generation, because now they can see, hey, that guy looks like me. Maybe I can be a president someday. Absolutely, sky's the limit for you. The Oscar, a lot of Asians now are winning that. Back then we didn't have that.
Yeah,
So
exactly. You're getting the roles.
it's like what I said, like, hey, we're winning beauty pageants. We're winning, I would probably say, best actors. We're winning best music. We're winning it all. Now I think it's time for us to have a representative, and I believe that our community is strong enough that they can send me to Washington D.C. and I can represent you guys better.
Yes. And so District 1 is where, if you want to tell the audience.
Absolutely. District 1 is actually, it's downtown Las Vegas, all the way south to Seven Hills. I have Inspirada, Boulder City,
Okay.
Sun City, and of course the entire Las Vegas East Side,
Okay.
which is, I think, the end point. It's Hollywood.
Okay.
So I have the whole Hispanic community. I believe there's a 36% Hispanic population in that district, and we have 10% Asian American in my district, and 10% African American. And what I do is, like, I just talk to them and find out the similarities, just like the way being here in America. And I speak Spanish
Yeah, you
fluently
speak
as well.
Spanish and Tagalog.
And Tagalog,
Yes.
yeah. Like I would tell, I went to an African American event one time, and I told them that, you guys know that we have a lot of similarities, and they're like, Ron, how so? I said, don't you know when Martin Luther King, passed the civil rights? Back then, there's only 120 Filipinos can enter the United States. But when the Civil Rights Act movement got passed, now they're allowed to have 10,000 Filipino that can come into the United States. Those are my grandparents. Those are my parents, So I said, we have a lot of similarities than you think. And that's the beauty about this country, is because I know we have similarities and differences. But at the end of the day, if we can just meet in the middle, I think we're going to be stronger than ever. And I still believe this is the best country in the world. That's why we're here.
Yes. And so, being the best country in the world, I think a lot of people view us as the place for opportunity, right? Living the American dream. And as time goes on, like, it's a different America than maybe our parents, grandparents, whatever, moved here and saw. Now, you are not for the open border policy. I know that you believe in immigration to be done the right way. So if you want to elaborate on that, because I think a lot of people kind of be like, okay, well, you're an immigrant, right? You came here, the country's built on immigrants. It's always the argument,
Absolutely.
And why would you not, like, have everyone come? That would be more so the argument that I think a lot of Americans would
And
have,
that's one of
so.
the problem right now that we have in Congress, because some of them don't know how the way the immigration policy works. And coming from an immigrant, I think I'm a little bit an expert on that.
Right.
When we came here in the United States, my father was a doctor, my mother was an accountant. We were vetted to come to this country. Of course, background checks and things like that, fingerprints. So when they were doing the interviews, the consulate is interviewing my parents on what contribution they're going to bring in the United States. Oh, you're a doctor? You're an accountant. Awesome. Now, the problem with the open borders is we don't know who's coming in here. We don't know if they have, if they're gonna come here to help this country to move forward, to be better, or they're gonna hold this country to go backwards. That's why I always tell them that once I became a congressman, I would close the border, work on the people that's here now, because I'm pretty sure we have a lot of people, especially the dreamers. I don't know if you heard of that. They came in here when they were a kid. That they didn't know at that time, and then of course the Obama administration gave them a Dreamers Act that they can have a work permit, but right now they're in limbo. They've been here all their life. They probably came here younger than I did, but they're still stuck in the limbo. So maybe if those people are here working hard, following the rules, being a good citizen, maybe we need to give them pathway to citizenship, because they've been here for a while. People that's been in this country for a while, who's working, doing things that the Americans don't want to do.
Right, right, right.
They came here. Maybe we need to give them opportunities, because if we give them opportunities, maybe they need to start paying taxes, and that taxes now can go back to the economy rather than not being accounted for. And of course, those people that are actually doing bad, causing problems, we don't need these people. I think those are the people that we need to deport. So that's the things that I want to do. I believe in closing the border, but of course we need to work on the people here now, because at the end of the day, this is still land of opportunity, and we need to sympathize the people that come in here, because a lot of people rather be in America than anywhere else. But we just have to do it the right way. We need to have a process. We just cannot just letting them in. We need to vet these people and see what's going on, what contribution they can give us to make us a better country.
Right, because right now I know there's a huge thing. It's all over the news. We're seeing people cross over from Venezuela and everything like that. But they're shipped to certain cities in buses to just be either on the street, or I know places like New York. I did watch an interview where they're being able to be housed in free hotel rooms, free food, free all this money, and free insurance for one thing. And I know for an American citizen, sometimes getting insurance is probably like the hardest thing for some people, especially if you're an independent as well.
It's very hard.
So how would you change that? Do you believe that is the right decision? I know it depends on state and how they're handling the migrants that are going there. And it's a sad thing to see just people on the street as well with kids and children and needing diapers and wanting everything to be kind of given to them when they cross the border. And I know that that's an argument. Some people are like, yes, yes, yes. And some people are like, absolutely not. So how would you kind of navigate?
That's a very good question. The problem about what's going on right now, we're just letting them in, and we don't have any plan on how the way we're going to take care of the migrants. So that's why I remember someone asked me, hey, Ron, you know what? It's so hard. I'm born in the United States, but I don't have any insurance. But if I just cross the border, I get my insurance. So it's not fair for the people that are actually here. At the end of the day, I'm America first. We need to take care of the people here. Like in my district, for instance, 18% does not have insurance. 10% have a private insurance, which is Obamacare, and of course some, the VA, Medicare, Medicaid. The problem about those 28% that didn't have insurance, first 18%, are they're self-employed. They're not qualified to get Medicaid because they're making a little bit of money.
Exactly.
They qualified for Obamacare, but they can't afford to pay $1,100 a month in insurance. What are we doing with those people that are actually working? Maybe we need to reconstruct a lot of things, bring new ideas. And the problem that's going on right now is, I've seen our politician that they just sign up whatever they can sign up because it's election season. So when I became your congressman, if I voted no or if I voted yes, I'm going to make sure that my constituents know what's the reason why. Because at the end of the day, they're my boss. I haven't worked for anybody else for the last 20 years, and now I'm going to have, 760,000 people that lives in my district, which is 760,000 bosses, that I need to explain to them, hey, I voted this way because this is what's best for the country. Unfortunately, you cannot please everybody because, this is a democracy.
Right, of course.
Of course, if I voted for something that it might be good for 55% of the population, but it might be bad for the 45% of the population, at the end of the day, that's what our democracy, we need to do it en masse. And my job that I promise to all my constituents is I'm gonna give them transparency. That I'm gonna tell them why did I voted for this matter, why do I believe in that matter. They may disagree with me, or they might agree with me. They might hate me for it, but at the end of the day, I'm doing what's best for all of us, because it's not just me. Right. It has to be us.
It has to, yes. So do you feel, America, I think, after the past couple of presidencies, has become really aggressive in terms of politics? We see a lot of people being very vocal in terms of their views, maybe even more unhinged and transparent, when I use that word, with how they view how society should be run, but not politics aside, very gung-ho. How do you feel about the division that is in America right now? Do you think it's, going in the right direction, wrong direction, and how do you want to heal, I think, have a part in healing America to come together again. Have the differences, but also come together.
That's why I decided to run as a nonpartisan, because when I was in those parties, the only thing they talk about is how to oppose the other party.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is, in my district or in Nevada, we have I would probably say 55% of our population are registered nonpartisan. Means that they're already tired about the Republican Party and they're tired about the Democratic Party. Like, when are they gonna get in the aisle?
Right.
So that's how we can get things done,
Get things
because
done, right.
they would pass a bill, the Republicans don't like it, the Democrat likes it. Okay, who has the votes? Oh, we're majority. Guess what? We're gonna pass that bill. The problem with that is we are not meeting across the aisle. We're just doing one side and another. And when I was looking at that, I decided, and I'm a long time Republican. I'm part of the Republican Party since when I was 18 years old. I'm not gonna tell you how old I am, but I asked myself, I'm like, well, how am I gonna get things done? Because let's say I'm a new elected congressman,
Right.
and I want to vote for this for the benefit of my constituents. The Speaker of the House tells me, Ron Quince, you're not gonna vote for that. Because, that's just not a policy they want to pass.
Yeah.
So how am I going to face the people
Yeah.
when I go back to my district? I didn't vote for it because apparently you guys are not my boss. I have another boss
Right,
I need
right.
to deal with. Running as a nonpartisan is very, very difficult, because now instead of me just focusing on one party, I have to focus with the both parties. And believe me,
Yeah.
they don't like me.
Exactly.
But I also
Right.
believe that, like what you said, I'm an innovator. I like new challenges. This thing's never been done before.
Yeah.
And hopefully, the next interview next year, we'll be talking
That's
about and
awesome.
laughing about this.
Yeah, 'cause you would be
maybe,
in the Washington,
maybe the first,
D.C.
the first nonpartisan congressman,
Right.
or the first Filipino congressman
Yeah,
that's going to be elected
absolutely.
in Nevada.
Absolutely.
And it'll be maybe a different. Maybe I can play the guitar.
No, yeah, I know you'll come with new tricks because now But that was you're leaning into my next question. I was going to ask you, how are you going to deal with the pressure? You get the seat, you're going to go out to Washington D.C., you're going to meet all these people, and I'm sure there it's going to be like
No, they already asked me that questions, like, how do you manage
that's a
all my
lot of
businesses?
stress. Like I
How do you
can't.
because at the end of the day, at night, or when I get home, or in weekends, I'm still a dad.
Mhm.
My girls, I give them breakfast and things like
Of
that.
course.
And I'm still a dad at the end of the day. And of course, running for office, running businesses, talking to my partners and things like that, going to school.
Mhm.
It feels like I think I'm built for this because I've been trained to do this. It's always, I remember thinking of retiring. One of my business partners here today, when I told him that I'm going to run for office, and it's kind of like, are you okay?
Of course.
Because I'm okay enough to retire. But the thing is, I believe that my calling is running for office because it's time for me to help this country pay back that this country has given me so much.
Mhm.
They didn't just hand it to me,
Of course.
but giving me the opportunity to try for that, it matters the most.
Mhm.
And I'm paying it back.
Yeah.
Too old to join the military, but maybe when I become a congressman, I can pay back this country, and we can put it in the right direction.
Yeah. So I don't want you to become congressman and deal with all the other people of Congress and out there, and then you
No,
come
you
back
see
with
me.
wrinkles. They always
The
say,
good
like,
thing about it,
with white hair.
the good thing about it, we're Asian, and
That's what to say,
we
but
never-
let's not let them ruin it, though. Please.
we never aged,
Don't have the parties ruin Ron, please. No, let him come back
Believe me,
smiling.
it's still gonna be the same. When I come back, and I would probably say 40 years from now, it's still gonna be the same.
Yeah, I'm about to say, as long as you keep the smile and you're not like, they ruined me, like the stress. But I have so much faith in you, and thank you so much for
Well, thank you for
coming
having
here.
me.
I do ask this one last question to every guest that I do
Mm-hmm.
have, because it kind of sums up them as a person. I do think it's important for people, especially people watching or
Mhm.
in Nevada, to know you more so than just because they're going to view you like, oh, he's a politician, or speaking, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But I feel the importance of them knowing your true intentions, how you're brought up, really lets people know, I relate, right? You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So the question is there a philosophy that you live by?
Well, absolutely. The reason that I'm running for office is because I'm running. When people ask me, why do you decide to run for office? and they laugh when I tell them I'm running for you.
Mhm.
And they're like, for me? Yeah, absolutely. Because do you like the America that you're living in right now? I always, I woke up one day and I told myself, is this the country that my children's gonna grow up, or my great grandchildren's gonna grow up? The America that everybody loves. So I'm doing this not because I have to. I'm doing this because I want to. It's time for me to serve the people of District One and of course the whole United States, and give them an opportunity that American dream is still alive. I'm a true proven fact of living the American dream. You know, even people, they're like, oh, Ron, the American dream you guys talking about, that's dead. No, it's not dead. I'm the perfect example. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there who's a perfect example. And I want to encourage those people that, you know what, hey, talk to someone, talk to the young generation because they are eventually going to be the future of this country. And the reason I'm running, I can't say I'm not a career politician because apparently when you decide to run for office, you're already a career politician.
Mhm.
But I'm doing this not for me, not for Ron Q name or anything like
ego,
that.
basically. Yeah.
You guys already know that. You and Ron Q's been existing, for a while. I'm doing this because it's time for us to have a good representation. I'm not getting funded by big corporation. I'm using my own money and some of the people that believe in me put little donation because they believe that I can make a change in this country.
Mhm.
And those are the things that I tell everybody. I'm here for you. That's why my website, I have two websites. One's ronqforyou.com and one's quincefornevada.com. I'm running because I believe in America. We gotta stop voting for those politicians that's not making any difference in our life. I ask humbly for your vote this coming election, which is November 5th. If you have any questions about me, visit my website, like what I mentioned before, or you can follow me on Facebook and help me get elected so we can fix things.
Yes, please. And one last thing, you do not want to relocate to Washington, D.C., right? You want to stay living in Nevada and continue getting to know the people
Absolutely.
and being aware. Correct?
Absolutely, because
Okay.
what happens, like I asked when I went to Washington D.C. and I asked some politicians who've been there for a while. They told me that, Ron, you know what? You only come here probably 3 or 4 times, like every 2 weeks, just to vote
Mhm.
for a new bill. But what happened? The problem in Washington is they get so busy about getting reelected. So now they're talking to the lobbyists so they can get more money to get reelected. No, I told them, I'm going to come to Washington. I don't know if I have to live in a closet. Stay there, vote, and then whatever I voted, whatever information I gather, I'm going to come back, have a town hall meeting here, have a radio or TV interview, and discuss what's going on in this country and what I have voted and where we at now. Transparency is the key because I think that's what the people are lacking. They're like really like thirsty for that because right now it's just a matter of bickering, who's red, who's blue, are you left, are you right? People are tired of that.
TikTok, no TikTok, right?
TikTok, no TikTok.
TikTok, no TikTok.
Do we have,
No.
we're concerned about Russia, we're concerned about China, we're concerned about Iran.
Mhm.
A lot of things are going on right now, and we need politicians, new elected congressmen, new elected people that has the energy to do that. Because I've seen Congress, and I've seen some of them are sleeping, and then they just poke them with their with their paper to vote.
You're like, oh, okay, what are we doing?
What are we,
Right.
what are you voting for? No, like I'm always been a student of policies, politics, and history.
Mm.
And I believe that I'm gonna make a big difference there because I'm gonna be that nerd that actually you're gonna be reading every single
Yeah.
bill and question them. And the beauty about it, I'm running as a nonpartisan, so there's no Republican or Democrat bosses that will tell me what to do because I tell them
Mhm.
no.
Exactly.
My
You're gonna
boss
go,
are
here
the
he comes again.
Yeah, my
Reading.
boss are the people. Yeah, my
Right.
boss is the people of District One, and of course the people of Nevada. And I believe a lot of people are gonna hate me there. And they said they're not gonna give me a. I went there and they told me that, Ron, when you get elected, I think what they're gonna do is they're not gonna even give you a pass to ride the elevator.
Oh.
And I'm like, why? Oh, usually they do that with the rookies. you have to take the stairs. I've been practicing, so because every time I go to my office, we've been going on the stairs. I'm not taking the elevator.
So you know, you get there, you look direction, they're like, oh God, there he is, just sit in the back.
Right. They said, oh no, you're gonna be like, oh, and I think someone told me, oh Ron, you know what? If you're first time elected, they said they usually don't get your office ready for like 3 months. So you're technically going to be working by yourself, answering the phones. Yeah, and I already know that. And the thing is, you know what I told them? Nothing new. I've done that before. Yeah. This is just like kind of like, yeah, see? This is nothing and nothing I haven't done before. Yeah. The only difference is, you know, now I'm back as being in mailroom again, like when I was starting. You know, I remember when starting my business, putting business card in people's car. I've done that before, so this is nothing new to me, and I'm up for the challenge, and I think I have enough energy to do that.
Right. Well, thank you so much for spending time
thank you for
talking a little bit about yourself and your politics and what you plan to do for all of us in Nevada and just the people, people of the United States, and continuing to push this country into a better direction and continuing being the America that you want it to be.
Well, and thank you for having me here. It's been a blast.
And I want you back, and hopefully next time you're back, you can come with new tales of your answering your phones and the stairs, how many stairs, flights you had to go up. You can bring us those stories.
I heard it was 29 floors, and they were like, oh, okay, nah, they're not gonna give you a pass. I'm like, what?
Oh no. Well, hopefully, I wish you the best. Everyone, again, please visit his websites that he has prior mentioned so you can learn more about him and what he is campaigning and what he stands for. And I really hope that this interview really brought you some new insight on who Ron Q is and why he is running and what his goal is in making America the America that he wants it to be. So everyone, a round of applause for Ron.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And then when we come back from the break, I'm not done talking, but we just want to thank Ron again. Thank you so much. So make sure you don't go anywhere.